Okay, so I want you to picture this for a second. You can even close your eyes if you have to.
Okay, I'm with you.
You're in a cafe, let's say Paris, or maybe Tokyo. You've been studying the language for like 6 months. You're feeling good.
You got the flashcards, the app streak is going strong.
Exactly. You know how to say hello, goodbye, and the all-important, where is the library?
The classic checklist. You feel totally prepared.
Right. So you walk up to the counter feeling confident. You order your coffee. Your pronunciation, flawless. The grammar, perfect. The barista gets it.
It's a moment of triumph.
A pure, beautiful moment. And then the barista speaks back.
Ah, yes. The money moment.
The money moment. They say a number. And just poof. 6 months of study and just gone. Was that a 5? Was it 50, 500?
You have absolutely no idea.
Right.
And the line is growing behind you.
Someone sighs.
Yeah.
And you freeze.
That is such a visceral description of what we call the checkout panic. And it's the universal nightmare for language learners, isn't it?
It really is. It's where everything falls apart.
And that's exactly what we're going to fix today. We are doing a deep dive into VocaCast, Chapter 5, which is called The Checkout.
And what I found so interesting about this source, I've seen a lot of these materials, is that it doesn't seem to care about teaching you math.
No, not at all. That's not the point.
It's more like it's teaching you how to survive a psychological battle.
That's a perfect way to put it. This isn't a math lesson. It's a strategy guide for, social survival.
Okay, so what's the structure here? The source material is a dialogue, right?
It is. It's between two characters. There's Joe, who's this very direct, logical British mentor type.
Right.
And then there's May, who's a much warmer, energetic American guy. She's sort of representing the learner's perspective.
I like that dynamic. Joe feels like the coach yelling at you to run laps, and May is the one sneaking you a water bottle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And their whole argument in this chapter is that this number blindness we feel, it's not actually a language failure.
What is it then?
It's a panic response. And the goal of the whole transaction isn't fluency. The goal is to make it boring.
Boring is good. I remember that line.
That's the mantra.
So, okay, here's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to break down this number blindness idea, why our brains just short circuit.
Yep. Then we'll unpack what they call the payment triangle.
Which sounds like some kind of military strategy.
It kind of is, in a way.
And then we'll reveal the secret weapon, which is basically a way to cheat your way through the whole thing without any math.
A total cheat code. But before we get to the hacks, we have to talk about the stakes. The source makes a really critical point here.
Which is?
That messing up a number feels completely different from messing up a word.
Oh, I felt that. If I say I run to the store, I just sound a little silly. I can laugh it off.
Right, it's a cute mistake.
Yeah.
But money. Money is serious. May points out that if you get a number wrong at the checkout, you don't just feel stupid. You feel cheap. Yeah. Think about it. Barista says 10. You hand them a 5. You haven't just made a language error.
You've broken a social rule. You look like you're trying to steal from them.
Exactly. The anxiety shifts from being linguistic to being moral. You're terrified. You look like a scammer.
And that extra pressure just makes the brain freeze even worse.
That's the trigger.
So let's get into the mechanics of that. Joe, the mentor, he uses this term number blindness. Why are numbers so much harder for our brains?
It really boils down to context. Or, I should say, the total lack of it.
What do you mean?
Well, think of a normal sentence. If I say, I went to the park and walked my dog, you can probably guess the next word.
Dog. Or cat. Or ferret, I guess.
Right, but you know it's a noun. You know it's something you can walk. The words around it give you clues. But numbers are islands. They have no neighbors.
So if you say, that will be blank euros.
What's the clue? There is none. It could be 5, it could be 50. It's just abstract data.
And so many of them sound the same.
That's the other part of the nightmare. In English, it's 14 versus 40.
Ugh, the teen versus taki problem.
It's the same in so many languages. And when you're in a noisy cafe with an espresso machine going, 50 and 15 are basically the same sound.
So your brain is desperately looking for context that just isn't there, and it panics.
And when you panic, the logical part of your brain just shuts down. So the source argues you can't just listen harder. You have to change the game entirely.
Okay, so if listening harder isn't the answer, what is? This brings us to their toolbox and the payment triangle. What's the foundation of this triangle?
Tool number 1 is the inquiry. It's the simplest possible move. You just say, how much?
I have to be honest, when I read that, I thought, really, that's the advice. It feels a little basic.
It does seem basic. But there's a huge trap here that Joe spends a lot of time on. It's not about the words you say.
It's about how you say them.
Exactly. It's all in the delivery, the intonation.
You mean making it go up at the end so it sounds like a question?
Yes, but it's more than that. It's about not sounding aggressive.
Yeah.
Joe shows that if you say, how much, with a flat falling tone.
Like how much?
Yeah, it sounds like a command. Like, tell me the price, now.
Oh.
Or it just sounds rude and bored.
So you really have to over-exaggerate that upward inflection. How much?
Yes. That little bit of upspeak is key. It signals friendliness, it signals, I'm asking for help, and it completely bypasses complex grammar.
Right. You don't have to say, excuse me, kind sir, would you be so kind as to inform me of the price?
Which is what my old textbook taught me. By the time you get that sentence out, the cashier is already annoyed. How much is efficient? You point, you ask.
Okay, so we've asked the question, we sound friendly, but now comes the scary part. They're going to answer.
Yes. That is the danger of asking questions.
And they're going to use a number, which puts us right back in the panic zone. So tool number 2 must be how to understand the number.
No. Tool number 2 is how to make the number completely irrelevant.
How?
Mike calls it the magic plastic.
A credit card.
A credit card? But she reframes it. It's not a financial tool. It's a translation device.
Okay, I'm a bit skeptical here. Isn't that just cheating? If I just tap my card, I'm not actually learning anything.
That is a very valid point. And Joe, the mentor, he actually agrees with you. He calls it lazy. But Mai's defense is really strong. She argues that for an absolute beginner, the goal isn't perfection, it's confidence.
So just surviving the interaction is the win.
Precisely. Think about cash. With cash, you have to understand the number, count out bills, check your change. There are so many places to fail. But with the magic plastic,
You just hold it up?
you ask card, they point, you tap. The number shows up on the little screen. The machine does all the work. You successfully bought your coffee without ever having to process the number with your ears.
You're basically taking the listening test out of the equation.
You are. And that helps you stay in the game. It prevents you from just giving up entirely.
Okay, I can get behind that. It's a crutch, but maybe a necessary one. But what happens when the machine's broken? Or you're at a market that's cash only?
And that brings us to the third point of the triangle, the analog option, cash. The source literally calls this danger mode.
Danger mode. I like that. Why is it so dangerous?
Because cash invites conversation. And for an anxious learner, conversation is the enemy.
How does cash invite conversation?
Well, when you hand over a bill, what might the cashier say? Got anything smaller? Do you have the 20 cents?
Oh, God. The anything smaller question is my personal nightmare. I just stare.
Exactly. Cash creates this back and forth. The magic plastic ends the conversation. So the source recommends a safest formula for beginners.
A combo move.
Right. You walk up, you look at the muffin, you say, how much? And before they even have a chance to answer, you hold up your card and say, card, please.
You're cutting them off at the pass.
You're taking control. You're basically saying, we're doing this digitally. It shuts down the complexity before it can even start.
That feels proactive.
Yeah.
I like it. So the source then moves into these simulations, the daily talk loop.
Yes. And they're all about teaching the rhythm of the interaction.
Okay, let's look at scenario 1. The coffee shop. Joe is the grumpy cashier. May orders a latte. Joe just grunts $5.50. And then what does May do?
She does. Nothing. Or, well, she says nothing about the price.
That really stood out to me. My instinct would be to repeat it back. $5.50. Okay. To show I understood.
And that is the trap. The source has a clear rule here. Don't negotiate. Just pay.
Why is repeating it so bad?
Because it signals hesitation. It tells the cashier, I am processing this information slowly. I am not confident. It kills the flow.
It instantly flags you as a tourist.
It does. May just hears a sound. Maybe she doesn't even understand it. And
Yeah.
she immediately says, card, please. It's smooth. It looks fluent, even if it isn't.
It's the illusion of competence.
Totally. Fake it till you make it.
All right, scenario 2. The ticket window.
The difficulty goes up a notch here. Joe doesn't use textbook English. He asks for $12.
Bucks. That's such a good detail. Textbooks teach you dollars. No one says dollars.
Right. And if you're waiting for the word dollar, you might miss the 12 completely.
Yeah.
But the most important thing in this simulation is the timing. Did you notice the 3-second rule?
I did. In the script, it literally says 3 seconds of silence. Joe asks, and May just waits.
And 3 seconds feels like an eternity in a real conversation.
It feels so awkward. I'd want to fill that silence.
But the source says that silence is your shield. It gives you permission to think. You don't have to respond instantly. You can pause, process, and then speak.
That's actually a power move. Rushing looks nervous. Pausing looks thoughtful.
It reclaims your mental space.
Hmm.
But then we get to scenario 3, the speed round. The souvenir shop.
The stress test.
This is where it all goes wrong. May has her T-shirt. She asks how much. Joe says 20. She goes for the magic plastic strategy.
She asks card, feeling all confident.
And Joe just shuts her down. Cash only. Machine's broken.
And that's when my stomach would just drop. The hack failed. You're in danger mode.
This is where the real panic would normally take over. Because now you actually have to understand the number and count out the cash.
Or do you?
Well, this is where they reveal the secret weapon. And I'll be honest, when I first read it, I laughed. It seems too simple.
It's called the big bill strategy.
The big bill strategy. The advice is simple. Always, always carry a large bill. A 50, a 100, whatever's common in that country.
Okay, but how does having a 50 help me know if they said 72 or 22?
It doesn't. And that's the genius of it. The philosophy here, as Joe puts it, is make the math their problem.
Huh. Okay, unpack that for me. It sounds like just throwing money at the situation.
It's about offloading the cognitive work.
Yeah.
Imagine the cashier says, that'll be $17.95. Your brain just hears noise.
Right. I'm totally lost.
If you try to count out exact change, you have to reconstruct that number. You're fumbling with coins. You're holding up the line.
Looking like a total fool.
But what if you just hand them a 50? You know it covers the cost. And now your part of the job is done. You've paid.
So now the cashier has to do all the work.
Exactly. They have to figure out the change. They have to count it back to you. You've completed the purchase without ever actually understanding the price.
You've turned a listening test into a simple physical handoff.
It's like an eject button for the conversation. I don't know what's happening. Here's a 50. Sort it out.
But isn't that a little rude? Or risky?
It's not rude to pay with legal currency.
Yeah.
And it's not risky unless they don't have change. But the bigger point is psychological. It's a safety net.
What do you mean by that?
Just knowing you have that big bill in your wallet lowers your anxiety from the start. You know that if your brain totally freezes, you have an escape plan.
And because you're less terrified.
Your brain actually works better. You might actually hear the number because you aren't paralyzed by the fear of failure.
That's fascinating. So it's almost like a placebo. The money buys you the confidence, so you don't even need to use the money in that way.
That's it, exactly. It lets you stay in the moment.
So, okay, we've got the tools, we've got the secret weapon. How do we practice this without flying to another country every weekend?
The source gives some very specific homework. And it's not a worksheet, which I love. It's physical.
You're supposed to go to a grocery store, right?
Yeah, a grocery store, or even just look at an online shop. But the key is you have to physically point at the price tag.
Why is the pointing so important?
It grounds the abstract math in a physical reality. Remember how we said numbers are islands? Pointing builds a bridge. You're connecting the visual symbol on the tag with the sound you make.
So you point at the tag and then you say...
You run the loop, you point, you say out loud, how much? $5.99. You're training your brain to connect the image of the number 5 with the sound of the word 5.
It's building muscle memory for your brain.
It is. It's bridging that gap between your eyes and your ears.
And then they tease the next chapter, which sounds even harder.
Oh, yeah. Chapter 6 is going to tackle the 4th dimension. Time.
When?
When. Telling time.
Oh, telling time is the absolute worst. 1:45, half past.
20 to 6.
It's a nightmare. It's math and poetry all mixed together.
It is. But I'm curious to see how they apply this same logic of hacks and psychological safety to that problem.
Me too. You know, looking back at this whole chapter, the biggest takeaway for me wasn't really about numbers.
What was it for you?
It's that the goal isn't perfection. It's mission completion.
Spot on.
We get so hung up on having a perfect accent or knowing every word. But this source is basically saying, did you get the coffee? Yes, then you won.
That's it. It's strategic efficiency. Sometimes the smartest way to use language is to find a way to avoid using it.
Tap the card, hand over the big bill, smile, and walk away. But it does make me wonder, we are moving to a totally cashless world.
We are, very quickly.
So if Magic Plastic and Apple Pay become the only way we do things, do we even need to learn numbers anymore? Is the checkout panic just going to disappear?
That is a provocative thought. If the machine always shows you the price visually, the verbal part could just die out. We might lose the skill.
Right.
But I would argue that relying only on the tech makes you fragile.
How so?
Because technology fails.
Yeah.
We saw that in the souvenir shop. If your phone dies or the network is down and you have no other skills, you are helpless. The tech is a tool. The knowledge is your foundation.
That's a great place to leave it. Use the hacks, but don't let them become your only option.
And always carry a 50, just in case.
Always carry the 50. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Hopefully next time you're buying that coffee, you'll feel a little less panicked.
Just remember, rising intonation on how much, and keep it boring.
Keep it boring. See you next time.